All right, we're joined now by Florida Congresswoman and member of the Homeland Security Committee, Congresswoman Cammack. Great to have you here. What is your concern, if any, about Judge Jackson?
Well, first, it's good to see you both again.
Great to see you.
But, listening to her opening statement, one, she's talking about serving as a justice in the highest court of our nation, right? And they say justice is blind. Well, I wish the Biden administration would have felt that same way when picking their nomination, because there were only two requirements. And it wasn't talent and it wasn't skill. It was, are you black and are you a woman? Mm-hmm. And I think that when you are more focused on checking boxes than finding the best candidate for the job, you're already starting from a disadvantage. And I appreciated her comments. I think that she is a very talented individual. And I loved her commentary talking about her daughters and her family. And, she has a family that comes from first responders. But the thing that struck me was the mention of opportunities so many times in her remarks. Yet the agenda that she's going to be tasked with upholding with the Democrats is going to be one that is equal outcome instead of equal opportunity. So how does she square her past actions and her track record of really ruling in a very liberal, progressive way versus what she talked about in her opening statement, which was equal opportunity? I think we're going to see a lot of action in the next few days talking about really what does that mean to her. Yeah. As a Supreme Court justice, a lifetime appointment, we need someone who's going to be blind when it comes to upholding the law and not checking boxes. So I think you're going to see some pretty fiery testimony. I don't think that we'll have another Brett Kavanaugh type style hearing. That's just not the style of conservatives. Yeah.
And no matter how many promises we make to Democrats, I don't know if they will return the favor next time around.
Exactly.
I did want to ask you, in reference to that, where she's talking about equal justice under law, did it seem to you that perhaps that's an indication that she doesn't believe that that is currently happening?
Yeah, we've seen through her track record this very liberal progressive interpretation of the law as it currently is stated and read. So that makes me think that she's going to expand on her work where she's been extraordinarily lenient on individuals that had sexual offenses, crimes against children. These are very serious crimes and they deserve very serious punishment. Yet she's been very lenient. And it's because when you look at the track record, there have been certain boxes that have been checked or not checked. And that's where I think we're going to run into some challenges in seeing that this is a candidate who's going to really look past those superficial issues and get to the heart of the matter. I'm not convinced.
And the concern that many have about legislating from the bench.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a break, come back with more with Congresswoman Cammack after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to American Agenda. Florida Congresswoman Cammack with us today. Ukraine, Russia, some unintended consequences we're seeing. And you were pointing out one that may not have reached the radar for a lot of folks, but it's coming.
Yeah, a very not sexy topic that is going to really impact things is fertilizer. Fertilizer is up 700% right now.
Now, that's inflation, what you're saying.
That's inflation, but it's also because Belarus and Russia, they export the world's share of potash. And nitrogen, phosphate, and potash are really the main goods that are getting exported and used in agriculture productions. You couple that with the Canadian Pacific Rail strike and diesel fuel that has more than doubled, you're looking at food prices going through the roof. And on top of that, we were just talking about Ukraine. They're a major producer of wheat in the world. They normally export their wheat to the Middle East. The last time there was an issue and a disruption with exporting wheat to the Middle East, there was the Arab Spring and the Muslim Brotherhood came to power. In the next few weeks, you're going to see more disruptions happening across the globe like this, not just from supply chain, not just from fuel prices, but there's going to be real geopolitical ramifications because of what's happening in the Ukraine, and it's going to be felt everywhere.
And if we see that coming, what type of precautions, if any, can we take here at home?
I think that is a screaming red alert that says deregulate. Stop tying the hands of our agriculture producers behind their back. Get the domestic energy flowing here in the United States. There's really simple common sense fixes, but this administration doesn't want to come off their hands. Instead, they'd rather go beg, borrow, and steal from Iran or Venezuela. But we need to get serious, not as Republicans or Democrats, but as Americans, because we can produce the energy here, we can produce the minerals here, we can produce the fertilizer here, but the red tape and the bureaucrats in basements in Washington, they refuse to get busy in with the program.
Russia, Ukraine, how would you grade President Biden? What grade would you give him right now?
Can you go less than an F?
I had a feeling it would be bad, but if you give us, we got to take a break, but if you could give me one reason, like 10-second reason why you would give him an F.
This is Obama 2.0, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah. I mean, and why we would trust this administration when we saw what happened in Afghanistan is beyond me.